What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another live stream on high altitude investing. Today is the 13th of 2026 of March, and I'm super excited to be streaming today about crypto, about Bitcoin, about the markets as a whole. You can see Bitcoin is starting to break out, so excited to kind of share my view, my perspectives on what the market could do in the near future. So let me go ahead and get this link shared everywhere, and we will go ahead and get started with today's live stream. Hop over to Discord and to my X account and get this link shared so everybody knows. Hope you guys are having a good Friday, good weekend. It's a beautiful day today. Birds are singing outside, and I am excited to be doing the stream for you guys. So let me share this link here. Go share it on X as well. Make everybody aware that I'm streaming. Okay, here we go. Cool. So yeah, things are looking pretty good, to be honest with you. Bitcoin is starting to push up to resistance, getting ready to push up through. So the first thing I want to talk about today with Bitcoin is the potential for it to be following a similar kind of structure that it followed during our last bear market bottom. So here on the right we have Bitcoin during the bear market bottom in 2022, and here on the left we have Bitcoin currently, and although they're not exactly the same, it's the same type of attitude. So I'm kind of sharing these charts together to give you guys an idea of what Bitcoin could do in the near future. The price of Bitcoin could follow a similar pattern as what we see over here on the right. So as you can see, we're starting to curl up around in a very similar way that we curled up around last time. You can see that kind of curling shape where the market's starting to kind of round out, and the momentum is shifting from downward price action into more of a bullish, higher high, higher low type of attitude. And you can see that's exactly what happened right here when Bitcoin finally started to make that higher high, higher low pattern, right? We have our low right here. Then we come up, make a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then we really push up through this resistance. And that's really, to be honest with you, this is where the bull market was confirmed for Bitcoin back here at 30,000 before it went up to 126. So we do have similar kind of structure here with Bitcoin today, starting to make this higher high, higher low pattern. So here's our first low is actually over here in this case. First low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and we're starting to push up through, so this could make another higher high. So that's basically what you're looking for in these reversals, is to have some type of a higher high, higher low structure. Because here's the truth, the bottom of every bear market has to end with some type of a higher high, higher low pattern. That's the only way it's going to happen, because an uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows. So there's some point where the bearish trend stops being a bearish trend and turns into a bullish trend, and that's where we start to see that higher high, higher low pattern, where the market clearly starts to paint that type of structure in the market, right? So that's what we see here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is forming a similar kind of higher high, higher low pattern that we've seen historically, where the price bottoms out and starts to turn around, and it could be very similar to the bull market that we saw basically starting in 2023 as Bitcoin bottomed out with that higher high and higher low pattern. Shane, what is up? Thank you for tuning in, and good day to you as well. Jason, watching Dogecoin print higher lows is looking sweet. Yep, it's super good to see all of these coins starting to paint these higher high, higher low patterns across the board. It looks really nice. Ja says never stop shilling. You know, I especially like to shill in bull markets when everything pumps, because then it's cool, because you tell people to buy something, then it just goes crazy and everybody makes a bunch of money, and then you look like the smartest person ever when really you're just like, you guys, it was a crypto bull market. I probably could have told you any coin and it would have pumped. You know, Hit the like button, folks. Well, thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. John Cook says, good morning. Any floor for TFuel? Let's go check it out. But yeah, that's basically my view on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing a similar kind of thing. The last bear market bottom was right here, right? This is the last bear market bottom over here. And our current potential bear market bottom over here is pretty similar. So just keep watching the similar kind of structure to form. It's obviously really good for Bitcoin if we break above 74,000, because that's similar to when Bitcoin broke above this level right here, which basically confirmed the bottom formation and led to a lot of upside for Bitcoin. So just keep an eye on this for potential on Bitcoin. So let's pull up TFuel and see if there's any hope for TFuel, which I'll just tell you right now that I believe that there is hope for TFuel. So let's pull up TFuel. Okay, so we did go a little bit lower from this low right here, but we still have not gone below the bottom of this wick, which is pretty important because that was a liquidity grab. So there was a bunch of really low buy orders. The price went down really fast, picked up all those really low buy orders, and then bounced back up super quickly because there was enough liquidity down there that the price couldn't stay down that low for very long, right? And that's what a wick really is price moving down so fast and then back in the other direction that it closes with a big wick on the bottom, It can happen on the upside too. You can see this right here. So you can have price go up like that and come back down, and you can get a wick in either direction. But it just means that there's so many buy orders or sell orders in that area. When the price drops really hard, it's grabbing all of those orders, coming right back up. Or if it pumps really hard, it's grabbing all of those orders and going right back down. That's what a wick basically is. And in the case of TFuel, due to the fact that we're still above this wick, this tells me that we're basically just grabbing more liquidity in this area, getting ready to do something more like that, right? Where we break out of this downtrend and start to head up for TFuel on the 6-hour time frame. But in the bigger picture, my analysis has obviously not changed at all from what I've been talking about for multiple, to be honest with you, like multiple years now. Like with TFuel, I've been comparing TFuel to the classic Wall Street cheat sheet for a while. So let's pull that up. Market cycle. Pull up our Wall Street cheat sheet here. So here's the deal with market cycles. It's really the same type of pattern in these markets that appears over and over again. There's really just subtle differences between the cycles, but the market cycle is basically the same thing every single time. And you can see we have a Wall Street cheat sheet on the right. We have TFuel over here on the left. And if you just look at these charts, I mean, you can see that it's the same thing. Just pulling up the chart. This is euphoria right here. Here's euphoria right here on TFuel. Here's complacency. This is clearly complacency on the Wall Street cheat sheet because it's labeled. Then you have anxiety, capitulation, anger. That's the anger phase of the cycle right here. Then you go for one more low, one more deeper correction, and that's the depression phase of the cycle, which is exactly what we see right here, right? The depression phase on TFuel. So this is what I think is going to happen. The price of TFuel will stop downtrending. This whole downtrend that started right here in May of 2021 will stop downtrending and will shift from a bear market into a bull market. So here's the simplified market cycle right here. And you can see the point of maximum financial opportunity, in other words, when the price is fully retraced all the way down from the top, that's right where it shifts from a bear market into a bull market. And that's right where the price starts to make higher highs and higher lows, and it stops the downtrend and turns around. And that's exactly what I expect to have happen here with TFuel. A couple really good examples of this would be Ethereum. Ethereum is one of the most classic examples of one of these cycles. So let's pull up Ethereum versus the dollar. Just pull up the Ethereum chart here on the right, and we'll keep TFuel over here on the left. And you can see the same thing here on Ethereum. So let's stretch this up a little bit and line these two charts up as close as I can. And you can see here with Ethereum, we have the same type of a bear market, the same type of a correction that we saw, that we recently saw here with TFuel, right? Big, huge correction, falls off a cliff, totally retraces all the way from its old all-time high, all the way down to the very bottom. You know, just as cheap, as dirt cheap, as undervalued, as dead as it can possibly be. I put dead in air quotes, right? Because if people are telling you that crypto is dead, then you should probably double down on whatever investment they're telling you to sell. At least that's been my experience in the past. It's better to buy stuff that's dead than anything else, right? And you can see here with TFuel on the left and with Ethereum over here on the right, even Ethereum had this anger phase right here and then went for one more low. Even Ethereum went for a lower low, just like what happened here on TFuel. So to me, it's like, well, yeah, we could sell. Like, yeah, we could sell our TFuel here. We could get out of the market. We could be fearful. We could be, you know, trying to take selling actions. But it's like, why? Like, the last time that we saw this same type of fractal of human psychology, of human emotion, the price of that asset went all the way to the moon. So to me, it seems illogical to just sell all your crypto down here at this level. Maybe, you know, if you sold a few months ago, you were really smart for doing that. If you sold at the top, then you're a genius. But if you sell now, it's like, well, the risk to reward just isn't as good as it was before the correction happened. And so I think now really the smartest thing to be doing with your money is to be taking buying actions because of the nature of how undervalued the market is as a whole, including TFuel. And I'm super hyped about the potential, because if this thing turns around in the same way that Ethereum does, or did, I mean, in the past, and Ethereum will as well, currently in its current cycle, then the price of TFuel could break all the way above 67 cents. So you're talking about a new all-time high. Our previous old all-time high is 67 cents right here. You're talking about the price of TFuel going up over $1, and it's worth a penny. So that's why I'm like so excited about crypto. That's why, you know, because here's the thing. I've had a lot of business ideas in my life, a lot of different things, a lot of really good ideas in my opinion. Different things to pursue, creative pursuits, you know, whether it's making videos about Christian content, you know, as a Christian, whether it's just whatever it is. I've had a lot of business ideas. But to be honest with you, once I started looking at these crypto charts again every single day, I decided to go all in on high altitude investing, my first business that was ever successful, which was, you know, kind of crazy, because I thought for a while, I wondered if maybe I wasn't going to keep doing it, you know. But I kept looking at these charts and was like, I am just going to keep uploading. I don't care what people think. I don't care if people think I'm crazy for being as bullish as I am. Like, I really believe in all of my heart that this is where I need to be putting all of my effort and all of my focus is on this channel because of what's coming for crypto, how many people will just get totally rich because of my content, how prosperous it will make me as well. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. So I stopped uploading as frequently on my other projects and my other ideas and just basically went all in on high altitude investing, because I realized that this is where God wants me to be right now, is right here, right now, making these live streams, making these videos, helping people be ready for what could be coming in these markets, which is completely insane. I mean, if this happens, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that 100% I know. But in my view, I do have like a 95% certainty that at some point in the near future, sooner rather than later, crypto will go completely crazy and completely vertical. And if this happens the way I think it will, then all of our lives are going to be better forever. Like we're going to it's going to totally level us up. Like everybody watching this live stream, everybody that's been watching my videos, like it's just going to totally level up your life. So I was like, you know what, this is a worthy cause to put all of my time into, all of my energy, all of my focus, everything that I am as a person, to be all in on this. So that's why I've been making so much crypto content the past couple of years or so. Plus my good friend Donovan kind of told me, he's like, dude, like, you should do this. There's a lot of opportunity in this, you know? So I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? He's actually right. When he first said it, I was kind of like, no, I got this other thing, but he was actually right, and I'm glad that he told me because it's been very prosperous and beneficial for me for the past couple of years to be focused on high altitude content, you know. So this is kind of what I'm looking for with TFuel, is something like this, right? A big vertical kind of pump, like a big just run in price all the way up to a new all-time high. And that's what I firmly, with all of my heart, believe will come. It's why I'm so dedicated to crypto, is because I believe this is coming for a lot of different setups. Tam, what is up? Thank you for tuning in. Dinous gave me 3 thumbs up, so thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate you tuning into all of these live streams because I see you here pretty frequently. Jay Fish says, can you check out Ethereum starting to pump past the resistance? Sure. Yeah, we've already got Ethereum up here, so we'll just get this out of the way and zoom in a little bit and take a look at what's happening with Ethereum. So we are starting to pump here with Ethereum, starting to push up through 2100 per coin. In fact, we're almost, we actually did break up through 2196, which was our resistance level. Let's drop down to the daily and take a look at what's happening. So this is basically a double bottom pattern. If you guys aren't a member of the free Discord, click in the description box below, go down over to knowledge and links, and then click on top trading patterns. It'll bring up a Google Drive link, and in here there's a whole bunch of trading patterns that I put together that you guys can have completely free, that I basically drew these up myself. And in here, if I just pull this up, there's a double bottom pattern example, and that's what we see here with Ethereum, is a double bottom. So basically the way this works is you have your first bottom right here, then your second bottom right here, and then you kind of have this neckline going across, right? And once you push up through that neckline, that confirms the breakout of the pattern. And then you have like an 80% chance of going up the height of the pattern. And what do I mean by height of the pattern? That's the amplitude of the pattern. So the amplitude is from the peak low to the neckline. So you just click on the peak low with the trend line tool. You hold shift down, because shift will make it so your trend line locks into place at 45-degree and horizontal and vertical angles. And then you just click on the very bottom of that candlestick and then slide up to the neckline. And that gives you this line right here. And you put that on the top of the neckline, and that's your minimum target. And with the double bottom pattern, you have an 80% chance of reaching that minimum target. So in the case of Ethereum, in the near future, we have an 80% chance of going up to 24.25 per coin right here as a minimum target. So even if we were to go a little bit lower here and test this neckline again or anything like that, there's an 80% chance of going up towards 2400 per Ethereum based on that double bottom pattern. In this same document, you'll see all of the different trading patterns with their statistical probabilities, and you can see double bottom is 79%, so basically 80% chance success rate for this pattern. So that looks pretty good in the near future for Ethereum. In the bigger picture for Ethereum, because my channel is primarily focused on the bigger picture, this, to me, this whole thing right here is just an accumulation, kind of similar to what happened down here. The accumulation is a little bit more vertical. So actually what this reminds me the most of, to be honest with you, is kind of more like what happened to Bitcoin in 2018. So let's just keep Ethereum over here on the right, and we'll keep Bitcoin, well, we'll pull up Bitcoin over here on the left. It's similar, it's not exactly the same, but the same type of thing that happened. So let's pull up Bitcoin. So you can see here's Bitcoin, right? Here's Bitcoin in 2018 and 19 and 2020 and even a little bit of 2021 as well. And you can see that when Bitcoin topped out in 2017, we did have a big bear market, right? We had this huge crash in price from the top down, just like what happened here with Ethereum. But instead of like the 2015 bear market, which basically just once it bottomed out, it just went sideways and then pumped, you can see that this bear market that happened in 2018, once it bottomed out, it actually, instead of going sideways, the price of Bitcoin pumped all the way back up and then kind of chopped around and then went into this big bull market. And to me, Ethereum today looks a lot more like what kind of happened during this bottom than what happened in the Bitcoin bottom in 2015. So this whole pump right here, this kind of stuff right here, really, to me, it reminds me a lot of the stuff that was going on right here with Bitcoin. You know, same kind of thing. So I do see Ethereum breaking out into a bull market. In my view, this is all a big accumulation, essentially, for the price of Ethereum. All of this right here, you can think of it kind of similar to what happened to Bitcoin during this area right here, you know, this phase before it broke out to a new all-time high. And I see Ethereum as kind of being a similar thing. It's not the exact same, you know. The price of Ethereum did go back up to its old all-time high, then came all the way back down, whereas the price of Bitcoin didn't have that same type of thing right here. But it's still the same type of thing. And so this is accumulation on Bitcoin right here, right? And this is accumulation on Ethereum as well. And that's the way I look at it. This is how I see what's going on with Ethereum, and I believe that this has a lot of truth to it, and that we should see something like what happened to Bitcoin in 2021 still coming for Ethereum. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I see for potential for this coin. Camfluence says, all I see is a dead coin. Crazy. XD. Conscious Contact says, the DAL, the Dalai Lama of macro analysis. I love how you call me the Dalai Lama of macro analysis. You've done that so many times. It's funny. Joker Trader says, can view Mara. Sure, I'll check it out. Mara. Okay, looks like we've got it on Mexi. Let's check out the daily. Oh man, this thing is starting to pump. Are we on the log chart? No, we're on the regular chart. So yeah, this is looking actually pretty good here. We have a double bottom. Here's our first bottom here. Here's our second bottom here. Here's our resistance level that we're kissing it right now. So if we push up through, then we should confirm, like we do have to break through obviously, but we should confirm here soon. That will confirm the double bottom, and the price of this coin you can measure from peak low to the top of the neckline and put that on the top of the neckline. As a minimum target, we'd have $13, but to be honest with you, if this thing hits $13, it's probably going to go a lot higher, because that will basically be a big rounded bottom at that point, you know, because the price fell off a cliff, came down, kind of did this, and so if it does that, it's probably going to soar up a lot higher, because it'll be a big rounded kind of bottom for Mara. Don't know how to say that, but yeah, it looks good. Looks good, man. I think it will push up through. Looks like it's going to, at least. So keep an eye on that resistance level here at basically $10, $9.80. If we push up through that with conviction, like if we can get to $10.20 or $10.30, that confirms a pattern, and I think it's very likely that we'll hit $13 per altcoin. Liberty or Death 1776 says, I love your message about where you believe God wants you to be. That is the most important thing in life. We are here to fulfill God's plan for us and inform people about Jesus Christ to save them from eternal hell. Yeah, I agree, man. I think if you follow what God wants you to do, then you cannot go wrong. Like if you're doing what He has told you to do, not what your family's told you to do, not what society tells you to do, not whatever it is, is telling you to do, but what God Himself is telling you to do, you're going to be okay. He's on your side. He wants the best for you, and if you're doing what His will is, then your life is going to be working out in a really beautiful way. So, John Cook says, we need clarity to pass now. That would be awesome if it did. John Shkamansky says, cool, man, riding in the sidecar. AJ says, Dallin, did you hunt any elk recently? No, I have not hunted any elk recently, but I need to go. I have killed one elk in my life, and it was actually super, super fun. And I'd love to go again. But I've been doing a lot of fishing. As you guys know, I post on my X account and in the Discord, and sometimes on my YouTube community post section, where I'll be fishing and post pictures of the fish and stuff. So I'm a big fisherman. I love going kokanee salmon fishing and lake trout, and it's awesome. Still confused by your videos. Are you saying that we are going to blast off, or was last year the top and headed for 2029? Everyone is saying 4 more years. Thank you. So, I respect people from all opinions of the market. I've done this for long enough to know that there's sometimes where I'm right, sometimes where other people are right. I respect people's opinions. The way I see it is that the bottom is in for crypto, that we will have a big bull market. The big reason for this, the main fundamental reason for this, is due to the nature of where we're at in the stock market, and also due to the nature of what I see with Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin reminds me a heck of a lot of early day Apple computers in terms of opportunity, in terms of the cycle and all of that. And so my personal perspective on the market is that the bottom is in, that we are ready for more continuation of this uptrend with Bitcoin. And actually that right now, the correction that we saw lines up really nicely with this correction on Apple right here. So let me get these charts nice and lined up, clean. So do you see this correction right here on Apple? Early on in its trend, before Apple became like a really big deal. Well, it was starting to become a big deal here, but it was still early on in its trend. You can see this correction right here and this correction right here on Bitcoin. To me, those line up perfectly. And you can see all this institutional volume down here with Bitcoin. You can see all this institutional volume down here with Apple as well. So I see this and I go, you know what? Bitcoin looks a heck of a lot like Apple at $14 per share. It's forming a big uptrend, big monstrous uptrend. This was the internet bubble right here with Apple. And this was the crypto bubble for Bitcoin in 2017. Here's 2008. Here's FTX. It just all lines up so perfectly, and I believe Bitcoin solves enough real-world problems that it's as valuable as something like Apple, or at least pretty close. And so I believe that it might even be more valuable because it's a universal one-world currency, which is pretty cool, considering the fact that so many currencies are controlled and manipulated by governments and central authorities. It's pretty cool. Bitcoin is awesome, And so because of that, I think, well, Bitcoin has a real-world value proposition that's very big, kind of like how Apple has one. But especially early on in its trend when it was undervalued, it had a big value proposition, but its value wasn't very high yet. And that's how I see Bitcoin too in its current state. And so this bottom right here, very similar to this bottom right here, and I believe that Bitcoin could be bottomed. And the whole crypto market will follow too as well. So hopefully that answers your question, David, and gives you a little clarity on my perspective for the markets. AJ says, Dallin, why got theta hit so badly? Everything, it's just how it goes, you guys. Like, the markets have to pull back. People have to get scared. It's not anything out of the ordinary for the price of these assets to drop 90+%, 95, 97, 98% sometimes, and still fully recover from their cycles, especially the altcoin market. So if you look at theta here in the bigger time frame from our peak over here at $15, it's not uncommon for the price of these things to drop 95, 97% from their previous bull market peak and then fully recover. That's what Ethereum did. That's what theta is doing. It's just not uncommon for that to happen. The crypto is so volatile. As crypto grows, crypto will become more stable. Bitcoin is more stable than when it first came out. It used to drop 90% too. And now it doesn't drop as big percentages. Every drop has been less. In fact, every bear market has been a lower percentage than the last one. So as market cap grows, it becomes harder to move something in either direction because it's more stable. There's more money in it. It's more established. It's more trusted. And so, yeah, over time, a lot of cryptos that are really volatile right now, there will be a day when they're less volatile, they're more stable. But we're not there yet. So the price of theta dropping 97% from its peak is just typical crypto behavior. You don't have to have some special reason for it. You don't have to have, the court case that's going on to try to explain it with that. All you have to do is just know that that's what crypto does, especially altcoins. Or, let's pull up Ethereum again over here on the right, and we'll keep theta over here on the left, and you'll see that they look exactly the same. So there isn't anything new happening with theta than what we've historically seen with something that has real-world value. Ethereum has real-world value. Some people don't like Ethereum. Some people think it's a total trash coin. They think that it's just this slow, terrible, high gas fees and all of that stuff. And it's not perfect. I'm not going to tell you Ethereum is some magical thing that's just the greatest thing ever. Like, it's got a lot of development too. A lot of this stuff has a long ways to go before it's, where it needs to be. But does that mean that it's not going to get there? No. I mean, people that bought Apple early on, Apple had a long ways to go, but it got there. So when I look at theta, I'm like, theta has a real world value proposition just like Ethereum does. The court case is just the stupidest thing ever. And first of all, it's not even for theta. It's for the creator of theta. It's for Mitch. And it's the stupidest thing ever if you go look into it. And so I'm like, you know what? I believe in the value proposition of theta, just like I believed in the value proposition of Ethereum down here at $80, and it fully recovered. And so that's the position I take. Liberty or Death says, I agree that we are definitely in bottoming formation. If you go by days or bars, every bottoming to bottoming in Bitcoin history is 40 bars, which should put us in May. Possibly more sideways, but it's coming. Yeah, I think that we definitely could be shifting from the bear momentum into the bull momentum, and that could be a really good thing for us in terms of price action in the near future. So I agree with you. Gigamin TV says teddy bear. All right, cool. Sir Beard 89 says hi, Dallin. Well, thank you for tuning in, Sir Beard. Cool. So let's pull up the total crypto market cap and take a look at that. And you guys, we're 34 minutes in, but do not be afraid to just drop as many requests as possible, because there isn't a lot of people in here that have requested. Les, what is up, Les? I would be very surprised if markets turn bullish. I'm pretty sure we have one more downside to come, and the markets seem to be following the traditional bear market timelines. It's possible, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I just know for 100% that it's just going to do this. I will tell you what my honest position is based on what I know to be true on technical analysis, and I'm not going to change my opinion because just because somebody has a different opinion than me. I believe my opinion is well-founded, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's impossible either, but I do believe we will turn around and that this is the bottom of the crypto cycle. But I could be wrong, you know? And I'm willing to risk that. I'm willing to risk all of my reputation, my channel, everything on my opinion of the markets. So Pygo says, I don't think that the bottom is in. I mean, people were thinking of a business cycles, etc., but Bitcoin still went up 1,000 days like in the other cycles, and so I still think we could go down for 364 days. Nonetheless, there are plenty of trades to be made. You know, like I said, I respect people's opinions, people's views. I'm not going to change mine. I honor your opinion, especially Pygo's, because a lot of this stuff that I learned about Fibonacci and stuff like that early on came from you. And I'm super thankful for what you taught me. I obviously view it a little bit differently than you do, but that's okay. I respect your view and everything. So John Skamansky says, okay, look at T-Drop, new use case, AI currency possible. Yeah, T-Drop to me is a lot like TFuel, a lot like theta. It's basically the same setup, right? It's just a super dirt cheap cycle. Let's pull up T-Drop right here. You know what I actually really like? ICP. Let's pull up Internet Computer. ICP. To me, T-Drop is a lot like ICP in terms of what's happening. And by the way, this also, all of this reminds me of Cardano, because I remember when Cardano, or there's a lot of coins it reminds me of, because I've seen a lot of stuff get added to exchanges during bull markets and then just fall off a cliff because they got added right at the start of a bear market. And, you know, they look like this, where it's just the price just totally falls off a cliff. But I like buying stuff like this. I've seen this happen before a lot of times. In fact, I was on Poloniex when Ethereum got added to Poloniex, and it went down to 50 cents when it first came out and everything. So I watched Ethereum do a similar kind of pattern where it fell off a cliff like this and then bottomed out. And to me, T-Drop, ICP, they're both in that phase of the cycle where they're brand new. They got added at the very peak of a bull market. They fell off a cliff because of the timing of the market, and now they're really undervalued right now, and they're good opportunities to be picking up really dirt cheap. And that's the way that I see T-Drop and ICP as well. Kind of reminds me of Ethereum down at 50 cents when Ethereum first got added to Poloniex, fell down to 50 cents. That's the view I take on these two coins. Megamind says, hey man, love what you can do. Will you do Tau? Sure. TAO. Let's go to the daily time frame here. Oh man, that's looking good. So yeah, this is kind of a big wedge. You know, you've got your resistance right here coming down. It's not technically speaking, a falling wedge has to have 7 points, I believe. But it's still a wedge type of structure. So even if you don't have a perfect falling wedge, you can still be aware of wedges in the market. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6, technically, up on the top and on the bottom. So yeah, I guess it will hit 7 by the time it hits the top right there and pushes up through. But yeah, that's a nice wedge here with Tau. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see us go from the bottom of this trading range, because trading ranges, when people think of trading ranges, they think of horizontal. You know, they think of, oh, we're in a trading range, it's moving in that trading range. But trading ranges can be triangles. Trading range can be a wedge. Trading range can be a falling wedge, a rising wedge, whatever. It doesn't have to be a horizontal channel to be a trading range. And in this case with Tau, the bottom of the trading range was basically $147. The top of the trading range is $393, and it would not surprise me in the slightest to see the price of this asset move up towards $380, up to the top of this trading range. And if we break through that trading range, then we've successfully broken out of this big triangle, this big wedge right here, and that's really bullish. to have that happen. And that would lead to more upside. And so just keep an eye on those levels. Kinger Forkristus. How do you even say that? Kringer Forkristus says Dallin 0 on PulseChain. Alright, let's pull it up. Let's go to good old DEX screener and see if we can find 0 on PulseChain. Is it with an actual 0 or is it just an O at the end? 0? 0. Let's go to search here, 0 on PulseChain. There's a way to filter so we only have certain platforms. Let's go to the PulseChain, save, apply. Let's go to volume. Maybe we can find it based on volume here. 0 trust. There we go. So let's put this on the 4-hour time frame here and take a look at what's happening. So yeah, on the 4-hour, this doesn't look bad, you know? This doesn't look bad at all. So let's do a little Elliott wave analysis here. We've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an ABC right here. So I'd probably go like maybe like this, A. And people always say, oh, Elliott waves are so subjective. And I'm like, well, I mean, you could say that about any trading strategy. Like, that's kind of a dumb thing to say. That's more like, oh, it looks hard for me to learn how to properly count Elliott waves, so I'm going to tell everybody that it's subjective. That's what it sounds like to me when people say that. But whatever. So we have 5 waves up in ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like our 5th wave here. Or maybe even this actually could be 3 and 4 right here. Seems more likely. 3, 4, 5. And then ABC, so A. Let's go with B and C right here. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 1, 2. So this should be going for a 3 wave. Especially, you know, if we break above this right here, this level right here, anything above that level will confirm that this is a big double bottom right here. First low, second low, and that would be really bullish for this 0 on PulseChain. Something like this could happen pretty easily, in which case this would be wave 1 and wave 2. And we just counted the subwaves, right? For the Elliott waves, basically. So that actually doesn't look bad at all. It looks pretty good to me. Super Snake says, I've been following your TA on PulseChain. Very interesting ecosystem. Can you look at 9mm, second biggest DEX on PulseChain next to PulseX? Sure. Excuse me. Let me pull it up here and take a look at it. Let's copy that. Just go over here. And by the way, it is super helpful when you guys want me to cover certain coins to put the hash, you know, like this guy just put this big string of letters and numbers. That's a hash that's associated with this coin. It makes it so much easier for me to search for these on DEX Screener. So if you guys are ever requesting and you want me to be able to find it more easily, then go ahead and throw that hash connected with the coin, the pair, and I'll be happy to cover it. It'll be easier for me too, otherwise it takes longer to find. So the first thing that I don't like is the fact that we only have $1,000 in volume. But also that's not that surprising considering the fact that we're at the bottom of a big trend or potential bottom of a big trend. So if you're in a big bear market, volume is always going to go down. Sometimes you'll get a spike in volume at the bottom, but not always. You know, there's a lot of bear markets that just end like this, where the price is going down and the volume is going down, and then that's the bottom of the market, and you don't see volume come in until the price goes up. You know, sometimes you will get a capitulation spike in volume at the bottom, but sometimes you won't. So 1,000 is enough, considering that this isn't a very specific, very niche ecosystem. You know what I mean? And so there's enough volume here that it's not the end of the world. As we start to turn around, I'd like to see more coming in to see strength. Now, what is the price of this going to do? Well, we're on support right now. We have horizontal support going all the way back to August of, I guess, September of 2024, and we're on that support level. So this would be a place to buy support, sell resistance. You know, I try to put that in people's heads because it's such a simple but powerful strategy, is just buy support, sell resistance. Buy support, sell resistance. And anytime you see something on support and everybody's bearish, buy. And anytime you see something at resistance and everybody's bullish, maybe you should take some profits off the table. That's the simplest mindset to have. It's not perfect, but it will help you a lot to think like that. You'll make enough right trades that the times where it doesn't work will be made up for. So we're on support right now with 9mm, and I think that this will see a bullish reaction off this level. And then we should start to head up towards this resistance and this resistance right here. And if that starts to happen, then it could be the series, we could start to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. If that starts to happen, it could be the bottom for this coin, for this asset. So just be watching for that higher high, higher low pattern. We're still technically in a downtrend, so we have to start to break up through and make higher highs and higher lows. But I think it's possible for us to do, especially since we're on support and the rest of crypto's looking good. So I think it could break up through here pretty easy. I hope you're right. I'm all in. You know, I highly respect that, my friend. XRP BTC crosses. You know, I've been looking at the Bitcoin pairs a lot lately. They're actually one of my favorite things to look at. If I'm trying to fit my bullish perspective, which I do have a bullish perspective on the market, then these definitely look bullish to me. So let's pull up XRP BTC. So let's go to the 15-day and zoom out. When I look at this, I just think, man, this really just did the same thing that it did last time. So here's an ABC. Let's go to XRP BTC on Bitstamp. I believe it's one with the most data. Bitstamp? No, it's actually on Bitfinex, isn't it? No, I guess it is on Binance. That's so weird. Maybe Poloniex? There we go. Poloniex is the one I was looking for. So XRP basically just did the same thing. So during its last bear market versus Bitcoin, you can see this ABC correction right here. A, B, and C. Well, what is this? It's just a big ABC correction. I mean, to me, it's the same thing. It's just a fractal. So let's pull up let's go to the, where is it? Bar pattern tool. Let's grab all of this. And if you just stretch this out right like this, and just line it up, you can see, hey, that really is a similar type of thing. That previous bear market is a similar type of thing that we're just going through right now with XRP versus Bitcoin. And so I think it could see another big pump, kind of like what happened in 2017 right here, where it really pumped. Not like what happened here in 2021. That was sad. Let's be honest, that was really disappointing, right? But more like what happened here in 2017 because of the fractal, right? This is the last bear market that it had right here. This little guy right here. And then we just have a bigger fractal of the same thing. And that's, by the way fractals work. It's a self-similar pattern that happens in the microcosm and macrocosm. So it's a repeating pattern that's the same, but it's different sizes. Macrocosm, microcosm. That's what a fractal is. And so I think of XRP versus Bitcoin here, and I go, this is a fractal of the last bear market that it had. It's just a bigger version of the little version, you know, and that's what we see here. So I think we will pop for XRP. kind of how we did in 2017. I don't think it'll be super sustainable in the sense that it's just going to go, whoa, and just go up forever versus Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is growing enough and Bitcoin is established enough. But XRP is definitely going to pump. I think it'll pump more something like this. I think it'll pump kind of like it did right here. Like something like this. And then it will crash again. That's my view. Can we please get a read on ZBCN? Sure. ZBCN. Crypto. ZBEC network. So I don't know. I think I've talked with you before about this coin. And I still hold the same position from the last time that we kind of covered this. So essentially for this coin, this is wave 1 and wave 2. So we have an ABC, A, B, and C right here. Then we have 5-wave impulse, right? If you zoom in, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Perfect bullish impulse. So this is all a big wave 1 and wave 2, right? This is wave 1 right here and wave 2. We're now very undervalued. We're on the 786 from peak low to peak high. See, we're right on that 786 level. We almost hit the 92. We actually hit the 88%, which is a typical altcoin kind of thing to do, to go even down to the 88 and 92% retracements, which you have to add on. Those don't come with TradingView. You have to double click on the thing right here and click on these and add those specifically onto your chart. I even have the 88 turned off right now, but I can turn it back on. You can see it came right down to that 88% retracement, which most of the time altcoins, to be honest with you, in their bigger picture cycles, they mostly bottom right here, the 88 and the 92. So that actually looks pretty good. Big wave 1 and 2. I've seen enough of these wave 1 and wave 2 patterns to kind of know what to look for. And if we look here, let's go to, let's do a 4-day like this. Let's go to, my favorite example is Stellar Lumens. So let's pull up Stellar here on Coinbase. Go back to 2017. And let's go over here. And let's kind of zoom in. So this is a pretty similar type of thing, you know. Here's 2017 on Stellar Lumens. And here is ZBEC currently. So wave 1 and wave 2 is a good place to be buying. Now obviously when you're doing this type of LA wave analysis, you kind of have to be willing to let the market move. In the case of XLM, for example, you can see the price had a false bottom here, went for one more low, and then pumped. That can happen. That's what happened to TFuel. That's what happened to theta. So don't be surprised when stuff like that happens. You know, even right here, we had this false bottom right here for ZBEC, and it pushed down lower. So that's something that can happen in markets. It's not out of the ordinary for that to happen. But if you can buy on wave 2, right? If you can buy the bottom of that 2 wave right here, man, you're set, dude. Like if you can successfully position yourself in the bottom of wave 2, the profit that you're going to make after that is so life-changing. You're set. It's so cool to ride those big pumps. It feels better than like anything. It feels so good to ride those big pumps. You know, I mean, imagine just skyrocketing all the way to an all-time high. So that's kind of what I see coming for ZBEC. This guy hasn't got a clue. He's going to get you all wrecked. Well, we'll let time decide that, Alex. Hemlock says, appreciate you, thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in to today's live stream. Hey, Dallin, as per your opinion, what resistance level break will confirm meaning of the full low for STRK and Zen? Let's pull it up. Let's see, STRK. Usually I actually don't believe in validation or invalidation levels. I will use necklines, like if I have a trading pattern like the inverse head and shoulders or the head and shoulders top or the double bottom or double top, or I will use the neckline, but I'm not super big on invalidation levels because a lot of times, due to the fact that I like to map liquidity, I map liquidity in the market, and a lot of times those invalidation levels are right at the point of where the liquidity is at. So you'll have like a confirmation level or an invalidation level, for example, and everybody will be like, if it breaks below this level, then the bear market starts, or it's going to go to this price if it does. And that's useful for trading patterns, but I'm not super big on it when it comes to like, oh, is this level going to confirm here's the thing. Look, basically what I'm trying to say, you have to be aware of liquidity because you will see a lot of situations where the price breaks bearish and everybody's like, oh, this confirms a bear market, or this confirms that we're going to go lower, when really it just was going there to grab liquidity. It grabbed a little bit more and then it's going to pump. Like here with STRK, this looks really good. To me, this looks amazing. But for people that were worshiping this level right here and saying, if we break below this level, then this isn't going to be the bottom. We're going to go down for multiple years. Well, what's to say that all of the liquidity isn't down here? And so I had to make a false bottom, break below, grab liquidity, and then actually pump. Because that's what markets do. Go look at ADA, go look at Cardano, and you'll see a good example of one of these. Let's pull up Cardano right here, and we'll go over to Cardano right here, right? Well, people that were worshiping this level right here and saying, oh, if we break below this support level, this isn't the bottom, we're going to go for an even bigger bear market, And we broke below, and that was really just a liquidity grab before it pushed up higher. So just keep an eye on that with these coins. So just be careful, worshipping certain levels or even trend lines and saying this has to be this way if it does this. It's useful for trading patterns, but it's not useful for an end-all be-all of, oh, this is what it's going to do no matter what if this happens. But yeah, with STRK, that's what it looks like to me, is a capitulation. Here's our bottom, that people, expecting liquidity to hold right here. The real liquidity was here, down in this area. So if you want to look at this from a perspective of what will likely confirm a bull market, now I want to be careful saying this because of liquidity grabs and stuff, but if we do break above this level at 27 cents, I would say that would likely confirm the bull market. But I'm already bullish other than that. We've got other reasons to be bullish. Let's pull up the 15-day candlesticks here for STRK. And let's zoom out, and then let's pull up Cardano over here on the right. And I'll show you the main reason that I'm bullish on STRK. The main reason I'm bullish on STRK is because it really is doing the same thing that Cardano did right here. So let's go to 4-day candlesticks. So here's Cardano, here's STRK. You see what I mean by coins getting added during a bull market? This STRK got added during a crypto bull market to public exchanges. So when a bear market came, it just looks like it fell off a cliff, But buying STRK is really, in terms of where it's at in its cycle, it's a lot like buying Cardano right here at that very lowest point of its cycle. What was the other coin that you had requested for me to cover? And Zen as well. Let's pull up Zen. Another coin that I'm very bullish on for the same reasons. Horizon to me looks a little bit more like Litecoin though. It's like a perfect example of the Litecoin fractal. So let's pull up Zen on Binance here, where we've got this full data. But it looks like Cardano too. I mean, let's be honest. It looks like Cardano too, In terms of the cycle, it looks like Cardano too. Let's pull up Litecoin here. Pull up LTC USD. And let's go to Bitfinex, I believe, is the spot that has it. Yes, it is. So Horizon, so a lot of coins look like coins before the 2017 pump happened, and Horizon is definitely one of those coins. You can see that it actually has a lot of the similar type of attitude that Litecoin had before that 2017 pump. And so that's how I see Horizon here, is that we're at the bottom of one of those corrections. Just like Litecoin right here in like 2016, before 2017 happened. Same kind of thing. Jahui7236 donates $2 and says, do PulseChain ecosystem, PLS, PLSX, Hex, Inc. Thank you for the donation, and I'll be happy to cover those coins for you. Let's pull up PLS. We got to go to Dex Screener. Good old PulseChain. I'm actually really glad I started talking about this. I had a lot of resistance to talk about PulseChain at the start, but then I read a book called Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell, where he talks about following demand. And if there's demand for something, serve the people. You know, like I believe these coins will pump, and there's a lot of demand for it, and it's a good way for me to serve you guys. And so I started to make more content about it. So let's pull up PulseChain here first, and let's remove all the drawing tools, and let's go full zoom in here. So the first thing that we see with PulseChain is a falling wedge. You know, we have a wedge structure, lower lows, right? Lower highs, I mean, and lower lows as well. So you can see there's a wedge that we're in, and we're actually breaking out of that wedge. Now declining volume and price is actually bullish. So we have declining volume and price. That's a bullish thing to see. And because the fact that we're starting to curl here, this really looks ready to push right up through this resistance level right here and confirm our bottom. Now, you have to understand that the wedge, price is building pressure inside of this wedge. Every time it hits a resistance, every time it hits a support, it's building up pressure. And when it breaks out, all of that pressure inside of the wedge gets released. It pops. So that's why you get a short squeeze event at the bottom of a wedge. My favorite example, just as a quick example of this, would be Bitcoin. So if you pull up Bitcoin right here, and zoom in to Bitcoin and look at its falling wedge pattern that it did right here, you can see we have this wedge with Bitcoin, lower highs, lower lows, and once we popped, look how big this short squeeze was. Big, huge short squeeze for Bitcoin. You know, so this whole time that it's bouncing around inside of this wedge is building momentum, and once it breaks bullish, boom, all of that price action all the way up to almost $14,000 per coin from the bottom here at 3,000. So that's a pretty big pop. So that's what we see here with PulseChain is a falling wedge, and that's what I think is going to come is a short squeeze based on that pattern. Now let's pull up, what all did you want? PLSX, okay. Good old PulseX here. I'm glad that you requested for all of these because I haven't done analysis on all of them on a live stream in just a minute. So this is also a wedge, you guys. You know, lower highs, see that? And a series of lower lows as well. And we're at the very bottom of this wedge. So trading ranges, right? If you're at the bottom of a trading range, you're on support. That's a good place to buy. So you see boom, 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 bouncing all around in this wedge, building pressure. We're at the bottom of the support floor for this coin. So, dude, the second this pushes up through that resistance level, it's just going to go crazy. We're going to see a big short squeeze for PulseX. So let's pull out here. Now let's do Hex as well. I don't know if you mean, I'm assuming you mean Hex on PulseChain, which by the way is up 21%, so shout out to my people because I've been telling you guys to buy down here. the first thing that I like to look at with HEX is the bullish divergence. So big lower low in price, right? Big lower low, big higher low on the MACD. That's the first thing. I know I've talked about this probably 10 times now with HEX, but I really want to bring this point home because it's so, so, so powerful. You have no idea. Dude, bullish divergence and bearish divergence are probably some of the most useful things I've ever learned in all of my trading and all of my investing. Maybe Fibonacci, market cycles, divergence, Elliott wave. Like, it's not that much stuff. It's really like 10 things that are just super powerful, that if you know how to use them really well, you can be a successful trader. And bullish and bearish divergence is one of those things. And we do have a lot of bullish divergence here on HEX, on PulseChain, and it looks good. And there's also a wedge as well, right? It's also in a wedge that already broke bullish. You can see we pushed up through the wedge, which is why we're starting to see we're up, what, 30%, 20% or whatever. It's because we're breaking bullish out of a falling wedge, which is really good. You know, the same thing happened right here. If you look, this was a wedge too. And we broke bullish out of that wedge, and boom, the price went all the way up here. So it's just fractaling these wedges. And I see it as being very strong for a bullish move. And if you look right here, there is bullish divergence here as well. You can see lower low, higher low. So it's the same setup. It's basically this same setup right here all over again. But this time when it breaks through, it could break out of this whole accumulation and go into a bigger price discovery, a bigger move. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here with HEX. And now let's pull up INC as well. INC. Looks like we're up 12% on INC today, which is good. And this, to me, is more like the ICP fractal that we were looking at earlier. ICP, same type of thing, or even the Cardano fractal. Right, the ICP fractal. Let's pull up ICP. If you look at ICP right here, and you zoom out on the price of this asset, you can see just this big fall off a cliff. You know, just, oh, we're dead. We fell 97%, I think, in this case. Looks dead, you know, it looks totally worthless. Nobody wants to buy that, or do they? Or maybe somebody does. Maybe somebody with more money than retail investors that are all getting thrown around by the markets and all watching a bunch of people on YouTube that have no clue what they're talking about. Well, maybe there's institutional money that does know what they're doing and does know what they're talking about and does buy the dip. And that's what we see here with Cardano that did a similar pattern. Fall off a cliff, and then boom, huge pump, right? And INC is the same thing. You know, it's that same fractal. I mean, I can switch between these two, and within seconds you can see, oh, wow, INC is very, 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 very good opportunity. You know, so that's what I would tell you, is just basically all of those assets that you listed, that you asked for me to request, are all like perfect setups, like exactly what I personally look for big profits in these markets. Pygo says, never go with anyone's thesis, always form your own, that way you do much better, and I can't stand when people follow some YouTuber then blame what's going wrong. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I fully support self-sufficiency in these markets, especially with technical analysis. If you're going to learn this stuff, learn it. It's not like you can't learn from other YouTubers, but don't blame them if the market doesn't do what they thought it was going to do. Just do your best to become self-sufficient, to actually understand analysis for yourself. You know, as much as I give fish in these streams, I'm trying to teach you how to fish as well. So just keep learning how to fish for yourself as much as you can. Be independent, not codependent on other YouTubers. And if you're independent, you're going to do better in these markets, even if you have a slower learning curve at the start. Smash those likes. Nice to see lots of PulseChain fans. Well, thank you, Crypto7. I appreciate you tuning in, and we should do another live stream together sometime. Best crypto channel of 2026. Well, thank you, Citizen Rider. Austin 10 says, Yo, Dallin, check out BYND stock. Okay. Beyond Meat. This must be a vegetarian stock or a vegan stock or something. I do like the volume down here. This is a typical ABC as well. You know what I actually really want to invest in? That I haven't yet, but I really want to? Cannabis stocks. Cannabis, the cannabis industry had a bubble in 2018 and 2017, and it's like buying crypto at the bottom of a big bubble pop. Like imagine people that bought crypto in 2020 before 2021 happened. Most cannabis stocks right now are basically like buying crypto in 2020. Now this is obviously, I'm pretty sure this is a vegetarian company, so completely different industry, but actually it looks like a lot of the cannabis stocks look. And it looks pretty good. So I'd say this is a huge opportunity down here at 77 cents. Now obviously when it comes to the world of stocks, and even crypto too, you want to check to make sure the company's still a thing, that they're still, the founder's still working on it, that they're still doing big things. They're still working towards their goals and their visions. If you're going to buy it, you don't want to buy something that they've just given up on and it's still on the stock exchange because it just was left there and they're all working on a different company and they don't even care about it anymore. But I would say that this looks good. This looks nice. I love these big ABC corrections. This is actually what I'm looking at with a lot of cannabis stocks. Like, let's pull up Canopy. Okay. The Canopy Growth Corporation. Dude, look at this thing. Look how dirt cheap this is. Big bubble here in 2017, 2018, Look how undervalued it is. I'm telling you, the cannabis industry and a 3D printing industry as well, they're both like buying crypto in basically March of 2020. So if you want to make a lot of money, even aside from your crypto investments, go invest in cannabis stocks, go invest in 3D printer stocks. You're going to do really well if you do that. It's kind of like buying like uranium stocks or like copper. Copper is so good. Or oil stocks and oil right now. Oil is insanely good of an investment. It's stupid how good oil looks. Like crazy good. Copper looks really good. Copper starting this uptrend here. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, even outside of crypto, but I do obviously encourage you guys to invest in crypto because a lot of times you'll get like 30, 40 times your investment on some of these altcoins, and it's harder to find that in other places. But if you do want to find similar gains, I tell you to go look at the 3D printer industry and go look at cannabis stocks. And those are two places where I really believe that there's a lot of opportunity. Mark Cooper says, what do you think of Momo? Let me see. I'll pull it up, and this will be the last coin for the day because we're an hour and 13 minutes in, so I don't want to go too long for the day. Paste this in right here. Momo. Well, first of all, it's pretty cute. Oh man, let's zoom out here a little bit. This is what I was talking about with Cardano. This is exactly what I was talking about with Cardano, about, hey, people think something's dead, looks completely worthless, sell all of it. Well, maybe it's not dead, maybe it's not worthless, maybe there's, this is an opportunity to buy. And you can see here's Cardano, and here's Momo. I mean, look at that. See what I mean? By buying the bottom of those big retracements that look undervalued, what goes up must come down. Go study Isaac Newton. Every action has an equal and or opposite reaction. A lot of this stuff in markets is just physics. It's just physics. Same with business. You want to be successful in business? Build consistent momentum with quality work in a specific direction. And if you build enough momentum, it's only physics. You're going to start to build speed And that speed is going to make you successful. If you continue to put quality actions in place in a specific direction, then you're going to be successful. It's just physics. It's just cause and effect. And same with markets. Every action has an opposite and or equal reaction. And if you look at a lot of these bear markets, people don't want to buy down here, but, well, it's a big bear market, and if you buy at the bottom of it, you're probably doing the right thing. You're set up to have that equal and or opposite, reaction, where you have that equal reaction in the other direction off the lows. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hopefully you found value in today's live stream and enjoyed it. If you did, then share with your friends. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and in future live streams. And yeah, so as always, stay profitable out there.